My name is Nicodemus Shadowsky, and I am the current vessel for Triptolemus. Well, I have previously had the honor of holding Eumolpus, his brother, and firstly, it is really interesting to see the other side, if you will, the perspective and the experience of the other brother, the older brother. Um, but I should say, and the I guess the parallels and perpendiculars of them in the sense that um, Triptolemus is very much, I think the term that we use for him is the governor, and he is very much his father's son. He feels that responsibility as the um, like the king to be. And so I find myself seeing a lot of the responsibilities in my life and being able to more accurately assess what is and isn't needed, what is and isn't the priority, and what I should, or maybe shouldn't be directing my energy to at certain times. So it's been a lot of the finding my responsibilities. Well, even in addition to that, he I find myself in matters where like critical thinking and needing to have a solid plan um, flowing a lot easier for me. There was an instance even recently for me where someone injured themselves, and I am the summoner for my coven, the Evergreen Hearth, and so dealing with emergency situations is part of my job. But even more so, I can look back on it and see, like, from my own experiences with situations like that, being able to just remain calm, figure out what needs to happen, facilitate those needs, making sure people are staying communicated with, ticking all of the boxes that I need to tick, and just doing what needs to be done. And I think he really helps me accentuate that in myself. Well, I find that when you're sure beyond sure that you're ready for something, there's probably something else that you need to do first. Um, but I suppose the if I had to think of a moment where that kind of settled in me that this was a role that I wanted this year was realizing that I am at a point in my path in clergy where I need to focus on not only what is my responsibility and by extension what is not, what I need to be able to identify like what I don't need to dip my hands in and just kind of allow the people who are already working on it to work on, but also how I use my energy. Like, what am I, day in and day out, what am I lending my energy to? What should I maybe pull my energy back from? And overall, just being accountable for me. One of the things that the votives and votary informed me of when we did the initiations was Triptolemus's closeness to his brother Demophon. When I held Eumolpus, there was very little, if any, interaction that Eumolpus had with Demophon, and I really never gave it a second thought. And the first rehearsal we had, I was handed Demophone very briefly, and it was a baby in my arms, and it was immediately like, oh, he needs to be tucked a little more. Am I holding his head correctly? And it was just natural. There wasn't even a thought to it, and so I think that has been the most surprising so far.
Hi, my name is Soleil Etoile. I am a first degree priestess of the Wise ATC tradition and a senior student at Wolstenstein Theological Seminary, and I am the wisdom keeper for Triptolemus. So I held Triptolemus as my first role in Spring Mysteries, and I really connected with Triptolemus. And so when they were looking for someone to be the wisdom keeper just for Triptolemus, because the person who previously was the wisdom keeper for Triptolemus also had another kind of votary role or wisdom keeper role. I was asked by the at the time current votary and Bella to hold that role, and I accepted gratefully because Triptolemus has really made a profound impact on me. So actually, this is my first year being the wisdom keeper as we're going through the mysteries. And we have implemented some really cool new things, including giving people the opportunity to journal and get feedback on that journaling. I regularly check in on the person who is holding role. So right now I talk to Nico every so often just to check in on how things are going with Thomas, see if he um, needs any help connecting within the bounds of my role. Um, Different things like that. Being new in this role, I think being the wisdom keeper of Thomas is still kind of transforming me in a lot of ways. But getting to spend not just 1 year with Triptolemus, but every year ongoing has really stepped up a lot of leadership lessons for me. I think one of the interesting things about being a votary or a wisdom keeper is that those lessons continue for you in new ways. And so I really have learned a lot about watching how the rest of the group is doing and waiting to respond, about doing research, and different things like that. I think there's a lot to Triptolemus. He has a really important narrative role, right? And part of that is being able to have like a continuous understanding of how Triptolemus presents himself, um, within the bounds of giving people kind of ways to express themselves within that. But how Triptolemus presents himself, his relationship with his family, the major archetypes that play a role in how he presents himself as well. And kind of without getting into too much detail, I think that continuity comes back to understanding the role that he plays in his kingdom and the way he interacts with the other members of the royal family. I think one of the things that was really consistent and valuable for me is seeing how Triptolemus and Eumolpus relate to each other and how they play off one another. I think their brotherly relationship, although it can manifest in different ways every year, plays a big role in how people perceive the mysteries because they're narrating everything. And so kind of preserving that camaraderie, while also like implementing the other parts of a brotherly relationship is really important to me.